Hey everyone, welcome to How to Be Fancy. I'm Heather and today I've got no makeup on my face and I thought I would just do, while I am filming this kind of everyday 1940s quick go-to look, I thought I would film a makeup look to go along with this. So I'm just going to talk through this as I go along. I've got a few things here. We're going to keep this slightly authentic. Of course, I'm never 100% authentic because I always like to throw in a little bit of a modern twist. So we're going to do that today. I've already moisturized my face and I'm just gonna pop on a little bit of foundation. Of course, in the 1940s, they probably would have been using something like a pancake foundation, which would have been really heavy and not that easy to work with. I'm going to go in with a clay foundation. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Foundation. And I chose this because it's a little bit of a darker shade for me right now. And that was kind of the trend in the 40s, was to go a little bit just slightly darker than your natural skin tone, which is something that I think would surprise most people. But they often chose a shade darker. So I'm just gonna pop that all over my face. I'm gonna take a little bit extra around my nose area. So I'm gonna move on to brows. Now, brows in the 40s would have been somewhat of a hybrid between the arched brow of the 50s and the very slim, overplucked brow of the 30s. I'm just going to kind of follow my natural eye shape to get something. It's kind of that in between. Also in the 40s, because all of the women were now working, doing a lot of like the farming, the industry, a lot of the jobs that the men had previously done. The look was all about kind of a get up and go sort of look. So it wouldn't have been fully polished. So brows were a little bit more natural than they would have been in the 30s and even in the 50s. Another thing they would have used in the 40s, because eyeshadows were not as common during the time because production had been slowed, limited, or even shut down, especially in Britain, they would have just used a little bit of Vaseline on their eyes. So just to kind of tame their brows and left them completely natural, no color or anything, just with a little Vaseline to tame the shape. Moving on to eyeshadow, again, there wasn't a lot of eyeshadow available during the time, and what they did have was going to be very either homemade or natural. So not a lot of shimmers or anything like that unless it was for a special occasion. So I'm just going to go in with my Balm Nude Tude palette and take the shade Sultry, which is just a nice warm brown, and I'm gonna just kind of buff that over the moving part of my eye and blend it up into the crease. Take a clean brush and blend that up. Now, pretending that this is a special occasion, I may have taken something shimmery that I'd been hoarding for the whole year. So I'm going to take this little Lorac palette. It's the Pro Metal palette. I think it's adorable. I got this at Ulta. I'm just going to take my ring finger and go into the shade Gilded. It's just a really nice soft gold. And I'm going to pop it right in the center of my lid. So this would have been something like around maybe Christmas time or a wedding or something special like that. You might have popped on your special occasion eyeshadow. I'm going to pop a little bit of that just in the inner corner as well. Just a touch. And you can tell this is very, very soft, so I'm going to blend that out just a little bit. There wasn't a lot of thick, heavy, doe-eyed liner in the 40s. So if they wore a liner at all, it would have been just a really thin black line. So I'm going to take this bronze shade. This is a liner from Tarte. It's the Tartiste liners. It comes with a little separate eyeliner. And I'm just going to really focus on getting, not a wing particularly, but just running this along the lash line and then pulling it out slightly, ever so slightly at the ends. Just really gently brushing that into the lashes. And then up just a little at the edge here. You really wouldn't have had that full-on feline flick until later 40s, definitely in the 50s. I'm going to take this little straight flat brush, use that to pull out that wing just a little bit, and then soften this. You would have seen someone like Barbara Stanwyck wear this very diffused, sultry kind of eye. So because I'm not using a dark liner or really doing a lot of dark shadow around my eye, I want to make sure that I curl my lashes really well so that they're kind of the feature of this eye. Just a much softer, more fluttery eye, I think. This is my Sappho mascara that I love so much. Just really wiggling that down under the roots and pulling it up, making sure to fan these lashes out, especially on the corners here, to carry out that feline shape. Now, if you really wanted to get starlit and go full glam with this, you could run a little bit of white liner in the lower waterline and then add a few individual lashes. Would be really pretty, but I'm just keeping this really simple everyday look, so no mascara on the bottom and really nothing on the bottom lashes. I'm gonna pop on a little bit of concealer. This is the Kat Von D, the new Lock It Concealer Cream. I just got this. It's really light. If you're looking for a fair concealer, this is the shade, like, I think it's Neutral L5, so it's light 5. And it is really, really light. It's also really, really concentrated, and it dries, like it full on sets. So I'm just gonna do some of this just to kind of almost highlight the face. A little bit here, chin, where I have that horrible breakout still. I'll pop some right here too, just to kind of lift that eye. And then quickly, before it sets, I'm gonna go in and just buff that out. We'll use this guy. Actually got a concealer brush with it as well, but I forgot to bring it up here. So I'm just gonna, and you can see how pale that is. It's really nice for highlighting, but not something you want to use too much of for sure. I'm gonna take my foundation brush and buff that in. Now, you wouldn't have had any contouring or anything like that, so I'm just gonna go straight into my powder. I'm actually using the Besame Cosmetics. This is just the translucent powder, and this is pretty much what they would have used. This is a loose powder, so a lot of girls were using a compact powder by that point, but this comes with a little powder puff, and I'm just gonna take that and kind of press and roll it across my face. So you want to make sure everything's pretty well blended in where you want it right now, because as I press and roll this, it's going to set everything into place. So kind of where I need it, which is around my nose and chin. Forehead. This is much more powder than I would normally use. Just gonna take a big fluffy brush and brush off any excess. This is another Kat Von D brush that came with the influencer box I just got. So just kind of taking off any excess, and then I'm gonna go in with my NYX primer spray. Normally I use this at the beginning of a makeup, but I'm gonna use it at this point since I've used so much powder. I'm gonna go in with my lip pencil. It could stand to be sharpened, but I don't have one here, so we're gonna make the best of it. Now, this was the feature of the 40s, would have been the lip. So this is where you want to spend the most time, pay the most attention. The reason for this is that in wartime, because the women didn't have a lot of time to put into their beauty routines, it was kind of the custom to wear a bright red lip. You could wear any shade of bright red lip. They had lips for bright blondes, dark blondes, brunettes, redheads. You had your own specific shade of red that you would have worn. So it's kind of interesting that the only makeup that was allowed to be invented or developed was the red lip by Elizabeth Arden. It was called Victory Red. I think Besame makes a pretty great reproduction of that, which I'm dying to get my hands on. Just to do this red lip, I'm going to take and go straight in the V, and then I'm going to kind of overdraw my lips, which I've got big lips, but we're going to see where this goes. So I'm going to follow my natural Cupid's bow here. Just kind of create that little X. And I'm going to come out from the side and up. Drawing just on the outside of my lip line. And I'm going to go up right here in my lip line right here and then kind of pull it down a little bit to get that kind of puffy little bow shape that was really kind of in style in the 40s. So you can kind of see that little shape right there. I'm just going to take this pencil and fill it in a little bit. Kind of the basic lip shape done, so I'm going to go in with this Milani color. This is another modern twist. I just really love this color on these 40s looks. It's a matte metallic lip cream, and this one is in the shade, I think it's 6, Madly in Love. It's the red shade from Milani. I love these so much, but I love the depth kind of in the texture that you get from it. So I'm just going to pop that on. Make sure you get down into those little corners. Another thing in the 40s that was low on the production scale was rouge or blusher or any sort of cheek products. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of this lip pencil. I'm going to put it on the back of my hand, a bit of it on the back of my hand like so. Pop it on with the finger I put it on, which is my middle finger. And then I'm going to blend it out with my ring finger that doesn't have any product on it. So you're getting that perfect match between your lips and your cheeks, and it's kind of that very like, it's not sultry at all. It's basically on the apples of the cheeks, just like you went for a run and blended out. I think that's what I like about a lot of the 1940s looks, is they're very soft on every feature except for the very structured lip. So even the cheek, you're not defining your cheekbone, you're keeping that fullness to the face, that very healthy look to the face, which may have been a sign of the times. Trying to keep that rounder face would have meant that you were eating well during a wartime. I like to read a lot into makeup of the times, if you can't tell. Just blend that out really well. If you feel like you've put too much on, you all know the trick. Take your foundation brush, buff out those edges. Wow, that is so pretty. I just kind of want to wear that on an everyday basis.